All right, let's talk about something that gets almost every trader at some point, overtrading. It's that quiet, sneaky habit that can absolutely wreck an account before you even know what's happening. But don't worry, by the end of this, you're going to have the tools to spot it and, more importantly, to stop it. Let's get into it.
We're kicking things off with a pretty heavy quote from a record-holding trader, and for good reason. Just to be clear, we're not talking about some minor bad habit here. The pros consider overtrading to be the absolute #1 reason most traders fail. Yeah, it's that serious.
So what is overtrading, really? Well, at its core, it's that moment when your emotions grab the steering wheel and your well-thought-out strategy gets kicked to the curb. It's that impulsive click, that trade that feels so right for about 5 seconds, right before it leads to that sick feeling of regret and a big hit to your account.
Okay, so to fix this, we first have to figure out why it's happening. Overtrading isn't just one thing. It actually wears a few different masks. Most traders, and I mean most of us, fall into one of 4 common psychological traps. So let's see which one of these sounds a little too familiar to you.
First up, the classic, the FOMO trader. Oh, you know this feeling. You see a chart just exploding upward with these giant green candles, and you get that pit in your stomach, that frantic feeling of, I'm missing it. So you jump in, you chase it, usually right at the top, just as the smart money's getting out. It's a classic trap.
Oh man, next up, the revenge trader. The emotion behind this one is so powerful. Picture this. You get stopped out of a trade by a single tick, and then you have to watch as the market rockets in the direction you predicted. It is infuriating, right? That anger makes you feel like the market owes you, so you throw your plan out the window and jump back in with bigger, riskier trades to get your money back now.
And then there's the boredom trader. The market's dead quiet, just chopping sideways, and you start to get that itch. You feel like you should be doing something. So you start seeing setups that aren't really there. You lower your standards for what a good trade is, all just to get a little bit of action. Professionals get paid to wait. The boredom trader turns the market into a casino just to pass the time.
And finally, we've got the greed trader. You just nailed a fantastic winning trade, you're feeling like a genius, like you're invincible, and you just can't lose. So what do? You immediately roll those profits into the next trade that comes along, not because it's an A+ setup, but just because you want more. This is such a dangerous loop, where one great trade can set off a chain reaction of terrible ones.
All right, so now that we've identified the enemy, and let's be honest, it's usually us. How do we fight back? Well, it all starts with building some external systems. Think of them as hard rules, a defense system to protect you from your own worst impulses. Let's look at the first line of defense.
Airline pilots don't take off just based on a feeling. They go through a checklist every single time, and we should too. A pre-trade checklist forces you out of that emotional headspace and makes you objective. It's your personal accountability partner, making sure you're trading your plan and not just whatever mood you're in.
Now here is a rule that is so simple, but so incredibly powerful. A maximum of 2 trades per day. And get this, if your first trade is a good winner, you pack it up. You're done for the day. This simple rule acts like a circuit breaker. It kills greed after a big win and stops a revenge trading death spiral after a loss. It's one of the easiest ways to force discipline into your routine.
And hey, if the emotional arguments aren't enough for you, let's look at the cold, hard math. Just look at this. The data shows that when a trader with a decent strategy starts overtrading, taking those extra emotional trades, their win rate can absolutely plummet. We're talking from a solid 60% all the way down to 15 or 20%. Your edge just vanishes under the pressure of emotion.
So having hard rules is huge. It really is. But the real long-term cure for overtrading, that's an inside job. It's all about making a fundamental shift in how you think, in how you see the market and your job as a trader. It's about developing the mindset of a true professional.
This really gets to the heart of it, the difference between the amateur and the pro mindset. The amateur is just glued to the screen, right? Watching every single tick, sweating every little move. And that comes from a deep lack of trust in their own plan. The pro, on the other hand, does their analysis, they place their trade, and they walk away. That set-and-forget approach isn't lazy. It's the ultimate sign of discipline and confidence in your system.
I want you to think of your trading capital as ammunition, and you have a limited supply. A machine gunner just sprays bullets everywhere, hoping something hits. A sniper waits patiently, sometimes for hours, for that one perfect shot. That's your job. Be the sniper. wait for those A-plus setups, and make every single trade count.
So how do you find your specific personal triggers for overtrading? You journal. I know, it can sound like a chore, but a trading journal turns all those vague feelings of frustration or FOMO into cold, hard data. When you track your emotional state, you can start to see the patterns. You can pinpoint exactly what makes you break your rules, and then you can actually start to fix it.
So we've diagnosed the problem, we've built our defenses, and we've started to shift our mindset. Let's bring it all together and talk about what the path forward looks like. The path from being an impulsive gambler to a disciplined professional trader.
This is hands down one of my favorite quotes in all of trading. Success isn't measured by how much action you see. It's measured by your discipline, your ability to protect your capital and only put it to work when you have a genuine edge. Seriously, some days, the best trade you can possibly make is no trade at all.
And please remember, this is a process. Nobody becomes a perfect trader overnight. It just doesn't happen. The goal isn't to be flawless. The goal is just to make a little bit of progress, to be a little bit better, a little more disciplined today than you were yesterday. That's how you win this game long term.
Okay, now I want to hear from you. Seriously, beating overtrading is a battle we all fight, and we can learn so much from each other. So what's the one rule, the one trick, the one mindset shift that's helped you the most? Drop it in the comments below. Let's build up a toolbox that everyone can use. Thanks for tuning in.